Welcome to the Silver and Black Coffee Hour, an Austin-based San Antonio Spurs podcast, boldly going where no other Spurs podcast has gone before or ever will go. This is Aaron Blackerby, part of the crew here, and I am joined by what I could only call after this weekend two of my California boys. The Beach Boys are singing their praises. One of them, Zach Montana, spent time in San Diego celebrating his birthday. Happy birthday, Zach. How was San Diego?
Top five cities in the states. I mean, what a beautiful city. City's great, but the scenery unbelievable. I mean, I feel like I was walking through Jurassic Park at certain times. So if you need to go to San Diego and want to see great scenery, check it out.
Zach is really saying he loved looking at the women of San Diego, an amazing euphemism for scenery. And then someone else who was a scenester in Los Angeles, still in Los Angeles, covering the NBA All-Star break, sponsored by Kia, Castrol, and what other things? Rivian, maybe?
Every
I don't
social
know.
media influencer.
And almost every social media and content creator, much like us, there are colleagues out there. They just do different content than us. With that being said, a very long introduction for Essay on SI editor and co-host of the Silver Black Coffee Hour, Mr. Tom Petrini. How was NBA All-Star Weekend?
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you for the introduction. I think you got it all. I think you hit all the pieces. The All-Star Weekend, and granted, this is my first one. This is the first time I've been at All-Star. So there were some parts that were definitely weird. There were some parts that were pretty cool, and there were some parts that were just straight up awesome. And the Spurs had their fingerprints all over the awesome parts, which was really, really cool to see. Obviously, that's what I was there to specifically look at. Um, but yeah, no, it's been a really fun one, man. And the content creator thing, I can't even talk shit about it because one of my most popular pieces of journalism from the weekend was asking Carter Bryant about the matcha and claro and performative male allegations. And uh, you know, the reaction to that was, "Oh my God, Softly is his favorite song. That's ball knowledge. Like this guy rules." It was that, and then I think the guy who asked this question should die. Like I think that he's a bad person and should be like excommunicated. And all of that is true. Softly is great, and I suck.
One, I'm going to argue against the sucking part.
Yeah, I'll
Two,
agree with that too.
look, my favorite Clairo song is off of her debut album, produced by former Vampire Weekend band member Rostam Batmanglij, and it's Feel Something. If y'all haven't heard that song before, I don't know what to tell you. I've been in on Clairo for a while, so shout out to Carter Bryant for that. And also, I grew up in an all-female household as well, so you know what? Shout out to our sensitive and soft boys out there. We are legion, as they say.
Can I say one thing real quick? I just want to get this off my chest. This is
This
for
is a
since Tom
podcast,
and
Zach.
this
Please.
is Tom and have traveled recently. I just want to say a big F you to Southwest Airlines for redoing their model because let me put it this way. The fact that I had to put my bag in row 25 and I'm sitting in row 17 is fucked and your Wi-Fi is horrible. That's it. Thank you.
Zach, I saw your tweet this morning, and the best way to complain to airlines on social media is to
Is to
tag
tweet it.
them.
No,
Yeah.
no,
No,
it wasn't.
tag
I didn't
them.
even want to give
Oh,
them the
yeah.
tag. I didn't want to
No,
even
no,
give them the
A
tag.
no.
They didn't deserve
subtweet.
it. Yeah, it
You
was a
want
subtweet of airlines.
you
Oh,
want to give them the tag. They give you free stuff for doing that. You want to do
You're
that.
My boy had a flight booked for 3 weeks and they kicked him off the flight and put him on standby. They're awful. They're awful.
well,
So I'm
I hope
done.
I
Well,
We're
don't
done
get
with them.
bumped.
thankfully, this is not an airplane podcast, though
Yeah,
all airlines are essentially credit card companies in America these
they are.
days. So, yeah. And
All
Tom,
right,
you'll be
done
flying
ranting.
back later. We're done
Yes.
ranting. Before we get fully into our all star analysis, Look, it's been a while since we've been here. Just some quick things. The Spurs are on a 6 game winning streak going into the All Star
Cash.
game. Wemby went to LA, truly put up a casual 40 spot on them in 3 quarters, and then everybody sat. And then the Spurs played the Warriors the next night on a back to back. They were at one point down 16 to a team that did not have Steph Curry. And you know what? They decided that they were going to become the adults in the room. And they came back and won by 13. I think the interesting thing about that game, too, fellas, one, adult win. And two, the Spurs won 3 out of 4 quarters in that game. I think sometimes when you see that first quarter, you're like, oh, they're down 38-31, kept clawing their way back, and they won every consecutive quarter after that. So, um, great job by the guys. They're coming to Austin this week. We'll get into Austin Spurs week in this show too. But I want to go to All Star. This is the most recent thing. We're a recency bias podcast. Tom, you flew from Austin into LA. I don't really want to hear about your flight because we've already had enough with the airplane rant. I'm sure it sucked. Um, but what? How was Friday night? How was first of Friday? Or did you go on Thursday? Tell us about the beginning of your journey.
I got out here on Thursday, and I'm a big sleep on the plane guy. I needed to sleep on the plane. It was a very early flight, but that left me a good amount of time on Thursday to come in. I'm staying with one of my best good friends from college. I had maybe a personal record on Thursday for tacos because I had two at the airport in Texas, and then I had like three shrimp tacos, like fried shrimp tacos, some aguachiles, and two fried fish taco or a big big fried fish taco. I had a al pastor burrito that changed my life. The guy had like a machete and he lopped off a little piece of the pineapple from the trompo and it fell like 2 feet right onto the tortilla and I was like, this is the LeBron James of that I'm watching here on this street corner. It was some of the best food I've had in my life this weekend. But so that was Thursday. Was a taco tour. Friday, Rising Stars. Um, Rising Stars itself, I thought was very fun. Our Spurs were well represented. Um, there was media availability for some of these guys. Um, that all sort of blends together, although the absence of influencers at the post game on Sunday was notable, but the Friday with the kids, man, it was a lot of fun. The thing that was worst on Friday, that was the worst thing of the whole weekend for me, just throughout the weekend was the attendance, right? And I don't know
I was
how.
really curious about this because on the line, this is one of those things where I read one thing online and then curious as our boots on the ground correspondence. But a lot of people were saying, one, all of the events were really expensive to get into, like thousands of dollars to get into, and then they were just empty. I think Rising Star, like Friday and Saturday, there were folks online saying it's basically the media in here. So I mean, were you seeing kind of something similar to that?
Yes, and I'm sure it didn't really come across on the broadcast because TV directors are good at highlighting the action. It's stage lighting, which does you some favors if it's empty, right? But it was dead. It was dead on Friday, on a Friday night in Los Angeles at a premier event for the NBA. And look, I personally believe that affordability for sports is a moral issue. But even if you don't care about that, even if, you're just purely driven by maximalizing, the capitalist, you know, like getting all the money, somebody screwed up there. Somebody screwed up the price willingness to pay graph somewhere along the line. I'm sure people smarter than me are going to dive into that and figure out what happened there. I'm fascinated by it because Um, you know, it's this big, beautiful, brand new building. Steve Ballmer's real excited to throw a party. It's in Los Angeles. I mean, it's in Inglewood, but like we're in Los Angeles, right? And the fact that it was so empty when this is a city that loves basketball, to me, that was like, kind of moral red flag and like hopefully a come to Jesus moment for the league, if not for moral reasons, then for money reasons, because empty seats is a bad look.
You mentioned it being weird a little earlier. You mentioned there were some weird things that happened. Do you think that, I was in California while this is all going on, and the timing of the games was very odd. It was very
Yep.
like in the middle of the day over here, or over there. And so, one, what were the
Dude,
some of the
middle
weird
middle of
things?
the day, middle of the day here too, man. I mean, the All
Yeah.
Star game was at 4 o'clock,
Mhm.
and while y'all are enjoying the beautiful California weather, I gotta tell you, right now, this is the weather in Austin where everybody's like, I gotta move here. Like it's beautiful. It's been
Right.
amazing.
So I was just curious, do you think it's one, what was some of the weird things that you saw this weekend? And two, do you think that maybe the time of tip off was a bit unique for Californians and just in general what was going on and with the normal population around the nation?
A good question, and I think the timing wasn't good for anybody. Wasn't good for
Mhm.
Californians physically coming out to the game. It wasn't good for people watching at home. A lot of people didn't realize that All-Star Saturday night was going to be in the afternoon
Right.
because tape delay Olympics coverage got
Mhm.
priority for scheduling one of the NBA's premier events. Uh, so it's good that it's on NBC. It's not like when the Olympics are going to be, so you can factor
Right.
that into decision making with stuff like that. Um, they just come up, and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Not
wow,
like every
the
4 years.
Olympics. This is
Yeah.
we who could have anticipated.
Tom,
So it's weird. It's weird.
Tom, I have some more hard hitting questions for you,
Please.
especially about the Intuit Dome. The
Yes.
toilet situation. Is it true? Are there
I'm
plenty of
glad you asked.
toilets?
Okay, so the toilets at Intuit Dome, the bathrooms at Intuit Dome. There are a lot of
Give me
them.
a rating. Give me a rating.
On sheer number, absolutely, you know, 9 or 10. Like the bathrooms are very readily available. Um, what I will say, as nice as Intuit Dome is, in the media areas, in the like, back of house for media and for players and staff and all of that. One, it's a maze. Like it's I have no I was there for 3 days. I had no idea where I was going at any point during those 3 days. Two, the bathrooms in that area stank. They were clean, just stank. So, ironically, maybe I was leaving. I was like, man, that stank. And there's a little placard, and it says, these toilets are flushed with recycled water to save. And I was like, I do know that Steve Ballmer and the Clippers care about the environment. So, uh, the craziest thing, one of the craziest things that happened All-Star weekend for me, I'm sitting in the media area after the All-Star game has finished on Sunday. I'm writing my story. Kawhi Leonard has just scored 31 points, right? Like in a quarter, basically. He went nuts. He walked through the media workroom, like not like the area where the players go, like the place that is sectioned off just for media to clack away on their laptops. And this guy walks by, and he was with like his whole family minus Uncle Dennis. And I saw him out of the corner of my eye, and he walked like right by me, and I was like, that couldn't have been Kawhi Leonard. Like, there's no way. How is Kawhi Leonard walking through here? Because like I'd seen him in the tunnel before, but and then he came back 20 minutes later. I was like, what is happening? Never seen that before.
Maybe he
and
still gets lost in Intuit Dome. Who knows?
it's possible. Maybe he was looking for Pablo. But
Maybe he's looking for
I
you.
yeah,
think I think he was looking for his next side hustle, personally.
yeah,
Kawhi
he
Leonard,
was.
should I start a blog?
Yeah.
It would be so funny if he was the next NBA player to start a podcast. He just they're
An
looking for
hour of
tips on
silence.
microphones.
The Boring Man podcast.
It would be ASMR central.
The
Well,
Fun
so
Guy Show.
anything else stick out from Friday? I mean, Dylan Harper had a game winner over his brother.
That was awesome. And Ron Harper Jr. hilarious. The whole family's hilarious, right? Um, but you get to go at your big brother at All-Star Weekend and hit him with every crossover in your bag and put your elbow in his chest and step back. But Ron Harper Jr. is at the podium after that. And, of course, he's asked about the final play where his little bro walked him down. And he goes, weak ass bump. He's mad about it. And he starts talking. And he's very complimentary. He's like, nah, this is a good play, good play. I'll give it to him. And he goes, when I saw him pushing the ball up the court right at me, I had a feeling what he was going to try to do. And he's like, he had the ball for 18 seconds. You better score. Like, it was like watching the Harper family this weekend was awesome and hilarious and
That clip
wonderful.
that he had with interviewing KD, I don't know if y'all saw that on the
Yeah.
the NBA socials. Absolutely hilarious. KD was like, "Oh, the two bros got me last time. I'm gonna get him this time." And Dylan Harper's like, "No, you aren't. You aren't gonna get me. Like, guard me. You can't guard me." And I think his confidence really came out this week. I saw like a personality of Dylan Harper that we've seen a little bit flashes here in San Antonio, but I think it really came out this weekend for the whole family, but him especially.
It was awesome. And dude, for me, transitioning to Saturday when they did Shooting Stars, um, like my soul left my body when I saw that it was Two Chains who was their celebrity passer. I thought for a brief moment, for a brief, beautiful moment, I thought that I not only would have an opportunity to speak to Mr. Chains, but would have a legitimate journalistic reason for doing so. Two Chains is like my favorite poet in the whole wide world. He means so much to me. But like I asked Dylan about Two Chains' passes in that event because he's a hooper. He was a college basketball player. Um, and he was like, Two Chains was not the problem today. There's a lot of people that pass worse than Two Chains. Um, and, and yeah, in the event itself, Ron Harper blowing the layup to start, and they were having fun, right? Drewski airmailing the pass, and then being like, ooh, ooh, instead of just throwing another ball, hilarious. Um, you know,
How high up were y'all? Like where
way
was media availability?
way
Pretty
up,
high.
way up, way in the top. Okay, here's another weird thing, right? Just from an event management perspective, the Halo scoreboard at Intuit Dome, extremely cool. Like it's awesome. One of the best like for the people elements of the Intuit Dome is when you're at the game and you're in the nosebleeds and they got the t-shirt cannon down on the court and it's never going to hit you, right? They don't power it up that high because of lawsuits, right? They don't want to blast somebody in the face and break their nose, right? So it's not going to reach the 200s. Certainly not the top of it, right? So at Intuit Dome, they decided the t-shirts need to be for the people. They installed t-shirt cannons like basically in this gigantic uh, you know, ring-shaped jumbotron that's all around the arena, so it could hit every seat, right? They sectioned off like six sections of top bowl seats for media, right? Uh, and they didn't turn the t-shirt cannons off though. So we're all up there with our laptops out, doing work, distracted, and suddenly the t-shirts start flying at us, right? And I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's Tony Jones covers the Utah Jazz. His laptop got obliterated by a t-shirt cannon last week, so this is fresh in my head. And I'm like, this is, and it kept going through the weekend, right? And the armrests at Intuit Dome have like buttons that you can press to participate in trivia and like, stuff like that, voting for who should do what. They turn that off for us. And I'm like, interesting. So you can take away my right to vote, but I will be shot with projectiles. It's a very interesting way to treat journalists. Uh, but I digress.
The That's actually extremely interesting. That's well, the Spurs did supposedly, you know, go check out the Intuit Dome this summer to see how to build a new stadium downtown. Maybe we'll get the Halo, and hopefully we don't get put up in the bleachers though.
The building is great. It's a great building.
How is it
Eh,
getting in and out? Pretty easy to get to and from?
um, Not really. Um,
LA.
yeah, traffic's bad, and you got to walk like half a mile or quarter mile away from the stadium to get to the pickup point. Um, but the big event for me on Saturday was dunk contest. Carter Bryant. Like we've been talking a lot about the way that that kid's confidence has grown, right? Um, he's here in his hometown. He grew up in Riverside. His whole family, all his people are here, right? He gets called up to the Rising Stars game, right? Um, he plays well in that, has some fun, and he plays for Vince Carter. He plays for Team Vince, right? Greatest dunk contest dunker, probably greatest dunker for my money of all time. And, you know, to get that moment and then to go into the dunk contest, I I think that his first dunk to me is why people don't do this event anymore. Like why we don't see the stars of this league compete in the dunk contest because it was a 360 up and down windmill. Like it was awesome. And it's like, the judges and the viewers at home were like, "Yeah, that was cool. I've seen a lot of stuff like that before." And gave it like a 45, you know? And
What's the buzz in the arena though, or is there one even for that?
it I mean it was kind of muted just because again it was pretty empty. And I think the order of events was weird on Saturday too. You started with they they started with
Three pointer.
3 point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
They
I
need to end with the 3 point contest. That seems to be
agree.
like the real like moneymaker anyway. And
Modern
that was
day
an awesome
NBA.
3 point contest where
I mean,
I thought Devin Booker was like going to take it. I was like, oh, he's got the final rack. Like Book's got this, and then no,
and for as much as it was like, man, Dame doing this in a year where he's not playing, like, you know, is that kind of stinky? Is there
He's
somebody
got
else out
fresh
there
legs.
who's playing who deserved the representation better in this? And like, if it was the kind of thing where it impacted your contract incentives, right? Like All-Star and All NBA, I would get that. Um, but having him in this event, I think, was really fun, and obviously he won the thing, so cool to see. But yeah, it was weird to me that Rising Stars was not first. It was weird that there was a 3 point contest first. But back to Carter Bryant
jumping back to the
because
dunk contest. Yeah,
he, I mean, he had it. He had it. He got to the final, and um, it was 50s in the first dunk of the final round, and he earned it.
the only 50 of the night
Only
was his first dunk of the final.
and you know he hindsight. I don't think he changes it. I don't think he changes his approach to that second dunk, which was all or nothing. He went for the gusto. he was not going to lay that up, and I have some friends who got a look at his practice, his preparation for this event, and they saw him pull off the dunk that he tried, going between the legs and off the backboard and over his back shoulder, and he was a half inch off on his attempts, right? And he spent like 20 seconds at half court talking to Vince Carter, right? And think about that moment for that kid, right? You are in the dunk contest in your hometown, talking to Vince Carter, who you've established a relationship with this weekend, and you're just brimming full of confidence. He didn't go for he could have he absolutely could have jumped, honey dipped, put his elbow in the rim and won the event. He didn't do that. He 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 went for it, and he was gutted. He was like on the verge of tears after this thing. He wanted this bad, and that was a common theme for all of these guys. Every Spur who was here, and De'Aaron talked about it. We all came in second, and we're all like probably a little pissed about that, and we hope we don't come in second this season.
I want
Oh,
to.
good.
No, I agree with that. I think this weekend really lit a fire under a lot of these players' ass, not intentionally, just kind of the way it went. I do want to ask a question. Two questions. Does Carter? This is for the panel. Does Carter Bryant have to shave his hair now? And do we think we see Wemby participate in the 3-point contest in the next 2 years?
I was told that the shaving head thing has passed for Carter Bryant,
Okay.
and I also think, for the sake of his confidence and being a good teammate,
Yeah.
hearing Tom say he's on the verge of tears, it's not good team
No.
building to
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
double down on that. And
Yeah.
then as far as Wemby in the 3-point contest, um, I don't know about in the next 2 years, but Dirk went into it a little later in his career, and I could definitely see Wemby doing something like that. I mean, of all the events, there was only one that didn't have Spurs representation in, and that was the 3-point contest this year.
Yep.
So that'd be great. You're muted, Tom.
I think that Wemby will do the 3-point contest soon. I think they may have to construct taller racks for him
Yeah.
to pull the ball off of. And I think a reason that Wemby would compete in that event is because it's a competition, right? Like that's one of the more competitive elements every year of All Star Weekend, and we know he's a great shooter, and we know that he is a um, a true
Competitive as hell.
competitor.
A
So
psycho.
a psycho, a psycho, and that bled
Well,
that bled through,
let's
man.
go. Let's talk about it on Sunday. I
Yeah.
think, well, I don't know if it's the full story around the league. We're obviously covering the Spurs, so we have that bias, but, you know, I felt like the fact that he gave a shit bled out. I mean, we heard it from Ant. He's saying thanks to Wemby for setting the tone for this, for everyone. But yeah, boots on the ground, Tom. What was the buzz around Wemby?
So, and I'm a Spurs colored glasses guy myself. I
Would never have guessed.
the I'm always that's always what I'm looking for, so it's always what I see, right? Having said that, Wemby's presence was all over not just Sunday, but in the press availability in the lead up to this thing on Saturday, um, throughout the event and after, especially after the event wound up being so damn good and fun. Um, the question all weekend that I kept hearing from media people was like, is this a cooked product? Like, should they just stop doing this altogether? Is this thing beyond saving? And then the question on Sunday became, did Victor Wembanyama just save the All-Star game? Wasn't about the format, which I think the format was great. I think the format, the round robin, the 12-minute games. You didn't have much downtime, you know. Like there
How
was
was it? Because they were warming up before the game, so would it funnel in pretty quickly, like the from one game to the next?
there was like, 10-minute intermission, right? So it's not broken up by a big like, half-hour concert or whatever. The pacing was good. The pacing was really good, and the competition level was high. Like nobody was trying to get hurt, but guys were trying. You know, um, we saw. I think one of the crazier parts of the weekend to me was seeing um, just how deferential Anthony Edwards was to Victor Wembanyama.
Oh, you went mute again, Tom.
Yeah. Uh, Anthony Edwards is the most A, uh, completely self-assured, and B, 100% media untrainable guy. Like he got the mic at the game and just
He
started
cussed.
like cussing to the crowd and everybody watching at home. Guy's awesome. Like 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 just from a get a quote perspective. And so on one hand you kind of expect that when somebody asks him, hey, LeBron's about to, get sent out to pasture, you want to be the face of the league? And he stops and he goes, them folks got Wembanyama. They got Wembanyama. They're be all right. Like, and then throughout the game, uh, Ant is a guy who, when he was asked, are you gonna care about this game? He was basically like, no. Like, and then he wound up winning MVP. And throughout the event, he was like, yeah, Victor Wembanyama set the tone. That got a lot of guys up, and I had a lot of fun getting up with that. And he said that in his MVP is you're in your All-Star game MVP acceptance speech, and you're giving props to, you know, your one of your biggest rivals in
He said
in
it
the
on
league.
5 different panels, by the way. Like
Yeah.
Like
he did it 5 times.
this is not a Spurs world invention. That did Victor Wembanyama just save the All-Star game? The guy who won All-Star game MVP is like, I think he kind of just saved the All-Star game, you know?
It was unprompted when they asked him on the court, and he brought Wemby up first. It wasn't like, "Hey, what did Wemby do?" It was like it was a competitive game. He was like, "Yeah, Wemby set the tone."
I
Yeah.
think it's a real testament to that. That was the most competitive All Star game I've seen in at least the last 10 years. Where it's like, yeah, just go preseason, speed. Doesn't mean you need to play the hardest defense, but like, we want to see you guys play. We don't want to see just all this jacking up and just standing around on the court, for that sort of thing. And to see someone, especially as young as Wemby, because he's 22, like that he got everyone, with the exception of Jokic and Luka, who look, Team World did nothing to help their cause, and I think there will be some that will say something about. I think the format, Tom, to your point of not taking breaks and maybe those just quarter long games were great. I have another idea for this. Just make it pick up, like eliminate the refs, have players call fouls, no free throws. You check it
That
up
would be
at the top
fun.
of the key, and like if you two dispute a play,
You
like
got to go
shoot
one on
for it.
one. You got to
No,
go one
no,
on
just
one.
shoot. No, 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 just shoot for it. Just play like pickup.
That would
Like
be awesome.
no one on. I mean, you could do a one-on-one tournament another time, but I think like just literally have the players, play without like and have them call their own fouls and whatnot with that. That would, I think,
When you said play
further
like
make it fun.
pickup, when you said play like pickup, my first thought was, three captains, right? and you have guys pick
No,
teams.
because that would be fun. Because then
I don't.
you would get some real animosity on that one.
Right,
We've
super
already
friend
seen the
style.
captains thing. I don't.
Yeah.
I also like personally. I didn't really like the. There is just something, and maybe it's just kind of about where we're at right now. But the USA versus the world, just that was kind of weird the way it was presented and rubbed me a little strangely. I would just rather see them, play
I tweeted
east
this
west
out.
of some sort.
I tweeted this out during the game, and I was only kind of trolling, but like I think Wemby might actually have a better team in San Antonio than the one that he played with in the All Star game
Well,
for
dude,
Wemby.
Jamal Murray was poor.
how many 40-point quarters have we seen the Spurs as a team do in a real live game compared to this All-Star game?
You're right.
Oh,
It's
plenty of it
actually
this
becoming
past two
quite
weeks.
yeah, that's I mean it's actually, quite normal for them. So,
And speaking of Spurs
yeah,
teammates, we got to talk about De'Aaron Fox having his moment,
game
which was
winner.
really, really cool for a guy who was a last minute injury replacement, had to turn around and get on the plane and come out here and skip whatever vacation he had planned. And I mean, the play itself, right? Um, because I think he had like just turned the ball over en route to Ant scoring, right, and giving his team the lead, and then they come down. LeBron gets the ball basically at the logo, and like I thought he was gonna pull it, but it would be so anti-LeBron of him to make a play like that when there's a guy cutting to the basket open, and so he hit Donovan Mitchell. Defense collapsed on him, kicked out to Fox in the corner. Fox pumps, Cade jumps at it, he sidesteps, he hits a three for the win. LeBron, Kawhi, KD all come over to congratulate him. Kelly Rowland jumped out of her seat, sitting courtside. You know, like he got a bunch of cool pictures of him and the king, and he talked about it. And I think it was a really good reminder for a lot of people about how this weekend is magical, even for some of the game's biggest stars, right? Even for guys who, spend their whole lives around basketball and competing at a high level. And this is an exhibition game, you know, but like how many times do you get to share a moment like that with one of the sports like true legends? So I think it was really cool to see that moment for Fox and for Mitch Johnson
So
coaching that team.
yeah, well, you mentioned Mitch Johnson. Shout out to him, Duncan, on Twitter for posting a screenshot of Wemby pissed off and Mitch Johnson laughing in the background. One of the funniest pictures I think I've ever seen in my life. And Mitch knows what he's doing, by the way. Mitch knows that he's lighting a fire under his young star's ass. That was so hilarious.
Fellas, I don't mean to be full on Debbie Downer here, but if these guys are like further inspired to win a championship because of like All-Star break, great. But like I feel like they're already pretty inspired to get after it already.
I
Well,
agree.
of course, but that's just
Yeah,
hilarious.
What I will say to that though, Aaron, is that this all clearly meant a lot. Every bit of it.
yeah.
Every bit of this meant a lot to each one of these guys. Um, Carter Bryant wanted it bad. Even in the more lighthearted events, Dylan Harper and Steph Castle wanted it bad. And, when on the last play of that first game, where it was like a missed rotation, uh, and Scotty Barnes got a three over a late rotating cat, and Wemby, who ran from the other side of the court because he said no threes and saw a guy at the 3 point arc, and he went flying at him, and he runs down the court like, oh, like I bet he was in the locker room strapping Carl Anthony Towns to a car battery. Like, where are you from? Jersey, right? Um, like it was intense, right?
But
And
we've all
I
been there,
just
Tom.
imagine I just imagine though, like he wants to yell at them, and then he sees like Luca and Jokic like probably just crushing beers like to the side, and he's just like, "What can I do about that?" Like,
Yeah.
so
But fellas, we've all been in that situation where we're on a pickup basketball court. We say no threes, and someone gives up a three, and you want to rip that dude's head off. We're like, we literally said no threes. So we've been
Yeah.
there. We've all
it's
been there.
true. It's true. Well, guys, look, Tom, any other tidbits from All Star before we transition into Austin Spurs week?
So I think the story outside of the game itself that kept being asked in different ways was about the face of the league thing, right? Wemby answered questions about it all weekend. A bunch of other guys did too. Um, Wemby's answer on Sunday after the game, when he was asked again about this, I thought was really awesome. Um, because basically he said, yeah, listen, the media, the fans, the league itself, they can push who they want to be the face of the league to some extent, right? Um, but the rest of it is about that person and about how they play the game of basketball, how well they play, the quality of their play. It's a byproduct of how they do. You can't make a face of the league who doesn't back it up.
Went into
And so I think that because of that, and because he knows that, and because everybody else knows that, um, I think that that question was kind of answered very definitively at this All-Star weekend in the town where LeBron James plays. Um,
Can we talk about the hardest quote of the weekend of him saying, they asked him about being the, you know, hey, what do you see yourself being the star of the league? And he said, it's a supply and demand, and I'm here to supply. That is quite possibly the toughest line I've heard in a very, very long time.
it was full Walter White. I am the one who knocks, and yeah, like the thing when he says this stuff, for the most part, it's like just French matter of factness, a lot of it. Sometimes he puts a razzle dazzle though, and he's always saying really profound stuff in his second language, which I find super duper impressive.
Right. I mean, that quote is comes off as an all timer, and that's his second language.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's so a star among stars, truly, truly a star among stars. Somebody who, um, you know, his competitive drive and nature and his you know, he was like, this nonchalant thing isn't cool. Caring is dope. We love this game. The least we can do is try. So yeah, that's the story of the weekend.
well, All Star game is come and gone, and now it's Austin Spurs week, which is like Spurs' own little South by Southwest here in town, and I'm pretty excited about it. There's going to be Casa de Spurs, which is going to be around Ninth and Congress in downtown Austin. They're giving away free coffee every day. And then they're going to have a few activations. I don't know if y'all heard, but the No Dunks guys are actually going to be in town on Thursday recording their show there. And then Thursday night, the Pesky Suns will come to town for a nationally televised game. And then the Kings, who if there was any other type of they need a different name. They're not playing like Kings. But with that being said, y'all, what are y'all looking forward to coming up with Austin Spurs week? Zach, why don't
Man,
you let us lead us off?
Man, this is my favorite week of the year. I think I had my birthday last week, and then it feeds right into Spurs Austin week. I mean, you can't think of two better things to celebrate. Um, Honestly, just the Spurs being in the city, I love to see the growth over the last 3 years. We talked about with Brandon how hey, it's when they first started here, there's a little animosity. Now it's like, oh, everyone is itching for this week. I run into my friends all the time who are Spurs fans. Are like, yo, I can't wait to go to the games in Austin. They're gonna be so much fun. They schedule their whole week around it. Bunch of buddies are going to both games. So yeah, this is probably one of my favorite weeks. And of course, just the fact that the stadium's downtown, it's a cherry on top for the location, just makes it so much fun.
Yeah, I'm personally looking forward to Wednesday night because there's going to be, I think it's like barbacoa night or something. There's free taco palenque at Casa de
Oh,
Spurs. So you guys know your boy is going to be there. Taco palenque, we have an advertisement sponsorship waiting for you right
whole
here.
show. We can give the whole show just to you.
I could talk paradas all day. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well as the games this week. I will definitely see if I can get some morning time off work to go to the No Dunks taping as well. But um, I mean, I know that we've had some of our comrades and colleagues that also covered the Spurs that are wanting to know about things to do. So I'm looking forward to kind of spending time with them on more my home turf as well, and giving some recs for
Great.
that. And
It's
then,
great to be the guy who knows the spots, man.
oh
And
yeah,
you know more
you
spots than
know,
anyone I know.
look, I'm gonna brag. I do. So
Not to toot my own horn, but I do.
I've lived here for 20 years, man. Like I think I know some spots and stuff. Speaking of, I went with my wife on Friday to the Leroy and Lewis steak night. Holy shit, that was incredible.
Yeah, I was
Shout out
living
to Evan.
vicariously through your social media account. I was very jealous.
Yeah, that Evan Leroy, friend of the show, my friend. I'm really looking forward to that meal again at some point. It was incredible. I'm thinking about it now. Anyway, Tom, what are you looking forward to this Austin Spurs week?
Um, I am also excited to play host. That's something that, I love being a guest for an awesome host this weekend, and as our Spurs friends come to town, yeah, hoping to get out on the town a little bit with them. We'll have to do a Aaron's recommendations short video later on where you can some people in the best spots, but I'll need that too for
Hold on.
uh,
I just want to say this is how I give recommendations.
okay,
I ask what you want. I'm not going to tell you like
right.
that I'm like, oh, you want Thai food, you want Chinese, you want Italian, like or whatever, or like, oh, you want to check out this spot. Like I'm not going to, you know, impart at first. And then if someone's like, oh, like, why don't you just tell? I was like, okay, I'll do that. But I always want to know what type of experience someone wants to have.
AB's got so many things on the list that he wants your recommendation on what you want because he has so many things that he can pick from. That's
It's
impressive.
twofold. It's he's got a huge Rolodex, and he's also a kind and caring and thoughtful person.
What a
So,
guy.
and I will come. I got to ask my mom and sister though, for what they want, so I can ask you. They're coming to visit this weekend, unrelated to Spurs Week in Austin, and they are non-sports ball people. And when I saw that the dates were lining up, I kind of joked, "Do you want to come to the game?" My mom was like, "Yeah, I'm looking at the tickets." So, uh, I have not been to a professional sports game with my mother in my life, right? So this is new territory for us as a mother-son duo, and I think it speaks to sort of the way that Victor Wembanyama has broken containment. That people whose main sport is birding are interested in checking out what he can do on a basketball court, even though they don't uh, you know, have any frame of reference or reason to care. So, uh, really, really excited to share this part of my life with them. That we share many things, but this is not one of them. So, on a personal level, very, very excited for that.
Man, be awesome. Let's talk just a little bit of basketball, fellas. Buyout market season is upon us. There's some guys that are already on it. There's some guys that are not, and some news that we haven't covered because there's been so much that's happened. Jeremy Sochan was waived by the Spurs. Signed the next day with a fantastic announcement that he went to the Knicks. And also Jeremy Sohan this morning announcing that he's a dad. So shout out to Jeremy Sohan for that. And I think he's also looking for a barber and someone to color his hair in New York. So, for any of our New York listeners, if you could reach out to Jeremy and his team, that would be amazing. With some recs there,
I'm
I don't
sure by
have
the
recs
time
for
you're
that in New
listening to
York.
this, it's already going to be orange and blue, man. He's not going to waste any time on that, I don't think.
But with that being said, the Spurs have now an open roster spot for a buyout candidate. Um, Look, this is not someone I think that is going to. It's going to fill a role when things get hairy for like 5 minutes at most, probably in a playoff game. Maybe get some run in the regular season, but with those folks that are on the buyout market currently, which candidate do you guys currently think makes most sense?
So he's not on the market currently. I think that the way that things are going for the Utah Jazz, um, you know, they can't just keep resting guys in fourth quarters. They got to start getting guys off the roster entirely. And so, if they do wind up parting ways with Yusef Nurkic, and the Spurs can him in, I think that that would be a really really good addition. I don't want, and I don't think that they will bring in like a four, because Carter Bryant, they're very clearly putting their backup four eggs all the way into his basket in the first year of his rookie deal. They want to get as much production as they can out of him right away. So if they can get a break glass in case of emergency center, I think that's what they got on the buyout market here.
Yeah, mine is
What do
going to
you got,
be
Zach?
Georges Niang. He hadn't played all season this year, but he's a great shooter. And I think if they're going to find space on the floor, he shoots. I think last season he shot, what was it, from the floor? 41%, or yeah, 41% from three. So on 6 attempts. So he wasn't shooting at a light number, but he hadn't played all NBA season this year, so I wouldn't expect it something to happen. But if the Spurs are looking to space the floor and finding one more shooter for a cheap contract, that's the guy.
For me, I'm going to go Chris Boucher just as some backup insurance, backup big insurance specifically. Has not seemed to find like the proper place for him in the league, but I do believe the Spurs in the past have shown interest in him. So I'd be interested in taking a flyer on Chris Boucher as what currently stands out in the league. And then Zach, you had one quick question here to wrap up before we just talk about these upcoming games.
Yeah. So we've now seen Victor Wembanyama kind of change the culture in San Antonio over the last 2 years. We've now seen Victor Wembanyama change the All Star game. What is next? What is Victor Wembanyama changing next? Is it something within basketball, or is it what? We've seen him just. He's basically put him in. He's gonna fix whatever bad situation you got going. Bad All Star game, throw Wemby in there. Bad Spurs team, throw Wemby in there. What's next for Wemby? Can't be president though.
Educating the American people on the French Revolution.
There
I
you go.
mean, I I feel like with some of his already political statements earlier this season, I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up to one of the press conferences with some like history of the French Revolution type book.
We saw multiple world leaders, uh, like, observing Victor Wembanyama this weekend. Barack Obama was courtside. French President Emmanuel Macron was tweeting about him, although they screwed up the map. Not where France is.
Dude,
Um,
that was wild. You have one
Great.
job in that graphics department. Get
what
the
are we doing?
countries correct.
What are we doing? But yeah, and Victor, to his credit, as one of the most prominent foreign nationals, like in the country, is speaking up about, um, you know, ICE and enforcement and all that stuff. So he's unironically, like, I think that part of it, the, you know, being able to speak up, I think that's sort of the next thing for him because this basketball stuff, he's already got it. You know, like he's he's running out of you know influence to have on this game. He's already kind of maxing that out.
Right, that's what I said. He already, the Spurs are fixed. The All Star game's fixed. I think maybe he'll show us how to properly protest the French way.
Yeah.
Hooping in rivers.
No, yeah, shitting in the rivers. That'll do it.
Shout out to the French, man. Those are some incredible. There's a proud, rich history of protesting. Um, yeah, no. Shout out Victor Wembanyama, man.
Great. Well, guys, All Star week is come and gone. We're done with that. Austin Spurs week is here. And guess what? We're only going to have 2 games between now and the next time we record a show. But they're both going to be here. Technically home games. And then they will be on the road until the beginning of March officially. On the East Coast, though, so not going to be too crazy from a traveling perspective. That being
And no
said,
late games.
yeah, no late games. And so this first game will be at 7:30 against the weird Suns. The Suns, I feel like, are the weird team. You know, in these last few years, how we have been the weird team for the Nuggets. You know, I feel like that's what this Suns team is. Like, not that we can't beat them or anything like that, but like 2 of the worst losses of the season, I feel like, have come against these Suns. And one of them, Devin Booker, wasn't even playing in. I assume Devin Booker is playing and back at it in this game. A couple other things I want to bring up on this, though, is that while we're starting hot or coming in hot after the All Star game, 6 game win streak, the Nuggets or the Suns, apologies, are 5-5. They've beaten some teams above 500. They've beaten some teams that are below 500. It's just very weird. There's been a little bit of Dylan Brooks coming back to earth for them as well. But the person we got to talk about on this team, Colin Gillespie, he shoots over 40% every time he's played the Spurs so far. He was probably one of the main culprits at the beginning of the season when people were like, is our 3 point and perimeter defense ass? Because who is this guy? Well, this guy also like averaged a triple double in the G League, so he is a good player. But I would watch out for Colin Gillespie in this one. What do you guys got?
This is a no Dylan Brooks game. He's suspended, got his 16th technical, so we don't need to worry about any nasty behavior from him. Thank God. I will touch on the Spurs. The first 2 times they played the Suns, De'Aaron Fox wasn't there. And Dylan Harper got hurt in the first quarter of the first game and didn't play the second time they played him. And Wemby wasn't around the second time they played him either. I'm excited to see this team match up fully healthy against this Suns team. Everyone said they kind of gave us fits beginning of the season. Well, yeah, when you don't have really a point guard, you only got Steph Castle running the ship. It's going to be a little difficult. So I'm excited to
Are you
see
saying
what.
Steph Castle isn't a point guard?
I'm not saying that. I just said the Spurs have a three-headed monster, and you can't lock in on one when they're all three playing, and so that's going to be an interesting factor to see what this matters. I also am excited to see last year when the Spurs played the Suns, it was a KD homecoming game. I'm more excited to see that this pro Spurs crowd is going to be rowdy and going to be into it because there's no homecoming. This is going to be a Spurs game, Spurs home game. So that's what I'm excited to see.
I think we should now begin hour 2 of the Silver and Black Coffee Hour, getting into that Castle point guard thing. Um, but but for for the Suns, just briefly because you mentioned Canadian Dylan Brooks, I passed right by Shea, like within 5 feet of him on Sunday. That guy looked so goddamn famous. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody look more famous than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander on All-Star Sunday. It was awesome. But anyway, the Suns are a good team. They're an interesting matchup for the Spurs. They came out, they were the first team this season to really experiment with the just throw the kitchen sink at Wemby strategy. And we've seen a lot of other teams do that, and we've seen the Spurs have, 40 odd games to adjust to that. So I think it'll be a really good, really cool test for them to see how far they've come in that regard against the first opponent that really sort of gave them fits with it.
Absolutely. And then next game, fellas, I don't know how long we need to make this next game. It's against the Kings. They've lost 14 straight games. You thought the Pelicans were bad. No, the Kings are the worst team in the West now. They are bad. To quote my own colleague and friend, Tom Petrini, they stink. Tom, can you give us that East Coast they stink?
They stink. They
Thank you. I don't even have that
stink.
proper accent for that. But these guys suck. Zach LaVine is officially out with a hand injury for the rest of the season. DeMar DeRozan is throwing water bottles on the sideline because he's playing in Sacramento. Malik Monk is a walking bucket, but he apparently has too big of a contract for them to get rid of. If we're talking about the other big existential crisis for the league in tanking, Vivek Ravadive's team is point blank one of them doing it, and in quite egregious fashion. Um, so yeah, I hope for the sake of the sickos out there that this will be a sicko game, and that you'll see some Lindy Waters, some Kelly Olynyk, some Jordan McLaughlin minutes. Because you know what, I lived in Austin. There are some basketball sickos here. Most of them are from Boston, but they are basketball sickos. And they would probably like to see some Kelly O minutes. What do you guys got on this
The
one?
thing is,
This is a go for it, Tom.
it's like when you schedule a cupcake for homecoming. You better not lose. But like, I don't think that the existence of the Kings in this game, or I think it'll be a good thing for people who want to see a show from the Spurs stars and from the Kellyos and the Jordan McLaughlin. The Kings, man, though, like, are they tanking or do they just suck? You've seen that Ludwig quick clip that's like, I'm clip farming. I'm not clip farming. I just stink. I'm just bad. Like, I think that when the Kings assembled this roster, they looked at it and they were like, we could host a play-in game with these guys. Maybe even be six seed. Like, I think that they looked at all of their, like, 2011 All Stars and they were like, sick. We're gonna be really good.
We got a dream team over here.
And now they're tank maxing.
Tom, did you? Tom, I wanted to make a quick joke. Did you get mogged by SGA at the All Star game?
I did. I got fashion mogged. Um, I looked good. I did not look famous though. Yeah, he height mogged
Sorry to
me.
hear
He
that, brother.
fame mogged me.
I know you've been on Mog Watch lately, and
I,
it's tough to see you got mogged.
but now Andrew Tate's playing with it. It feels kind of over.
Yeah. You
But
had the week run. You had a week run of it, and now you're done.
Wemby though is the ultimate height mogger. Like, there's no,
Yeah.
like, Taco Fall walks by and it's like, like, um, I think that's over though. I think it's done. I
Okay.
think I think I've done enough damage to my credibility this weekend with the Claro thing. Um, I don't need to fuck around with this, you know, the
No more
lingo
mogging.
for the
No,
kids.
no
No
more
more
minute. No more
mogging, no more
Gen Z stuff.
maxing.
Yeah.
Zach,
Um,
well, speaking of Zach, though, how do you think the Spurs are going to mog the Kings?
Well, look, we've all been there. We've been there as Spurs fans. We watched this team lose 18 straight at one point. So I feel for the Kings fans. Like I genuinely feel bad for them.
free tomorrow,
I don't
man.
really give a fuck. I hope we beat the shit out of them. I can feel bad for him before the game, but I want to see, LA, the LA game, they were throwing off the backboard alley oops. They were doing all sorts of fun stuff. We're going to see that Saturday again.
Bring back the Showtime Spurs for this game in Austin.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
speaking of things being over, this show is over. What do you guys got to? What do y'all have as far as record for these next two games? Let me
It's a
guess:
2-0
two and
week,
zero, 2 and
fellas.
0. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is we're all going to be 2-0 on this week.
Eight win
Which
streak, baby.
anytime we do that, so there's going to be a loss. But fuck it. Anyway, what do you guys got to say to the people before we sign off?
Austin week. This is, as Tom said, this is like a homecoming type thing for us. I'm excited to get out there and get a bunch of content for the people. And yeah, that's it. Go Spurs, go.
I am super duper excited for Austin Week. I will be joined there by these boys, obviously, and I will also be uh, with my buddy Matt Guzman, who was out here at All Star with me, doing a whole bunch of stuff for Spurs on SI. Really, really awesome work from him. He's a very impressive. We got to ask LeBron a question about Steph Castle for a story that he's working on for us. Shout out to Matt. Thank you, Matt. And as fun as the All Star Weekend is, we're never going to see Michael Jordan there because it's always the day of the Daytona 500, and his car won it this year, baby. So shout out to MJ, shout out to Tyler Reddick.
Tom, that
We're
finish was
not going
just
to
like a
comment
NASCAR.
anymore. Before we sign off for me, to Jeremy Sochan, I will remember you. Will you remember me? Don't let your life pass you by. I don't remember the other lyrics after that, but Jeremy Sochan, want to just say thank you for everything that you did with the Spurs. You will always have fans in us. So stand up. And if we see any so stands this weekend, come say hi to the Silver and Black Coffee Hour. We'll be out in these Austin streets for Austin Spurs Week. Like and subscribe if you made it this far. Give a comment. And we will see y'all next week. Peace.